Hi, today I will test OpenAI's Codex 5.1 Max by building a simple Pac-Man style game. This new model is very good at handling huge context. It keeps track of long conversation by compressing the context whilst keeping the important parts. So this means you can work for a long time in one session. Now, there are many new coding models out there. Everyone says their model is the best, and many YouTubers are comparing them. So I want to join the fun, but I want to test them in a different way. I want to build complete and harder projects, not just the usual build me a website examples. Now, I have been coding for more than 30 years, so this is going to be interesting for me. I want to see which models can truly handle real work. So why Pac-Man? First reason, it is one of my favorite classic games. If you don't know Pac-Man, let me explain. You move through a maze and eat all the small dots. Four ghosts chase you, and if they catch you, you lose a life. When you eat a power pellet, the ghost becomes scared for a short time. During this time, you can eat the ghost for extra points. Secondly, I tried to make Pac-Man using early models back in the days of GPT-3 and GPT-4. They could make simple games like Snake. But when it came to Pac-Man, they failed miserably. So I want to see how new models perform. Now I'm going to build this project in phases. I will not give coders one huge prompt to build the entire game. Instead, I will add new features using different prompts in each phase. I will use Visual Studio Code with the Codex extension. I have installed the extension and connected it to my OpenAI account. I am on a Plus plan, so I want to take advantage of that. Now, if you are using the free plan, then keep this in mind. There is no clear usage limit listed for it. Alright, enough yapping around and let me start building. Alright, so I have already loaded an empty project. So I will click the Codex extension on the left bar. The Codex panel opens and you can see my old charts at the top. And you can see that I have already tried a Pac-Man game earlier. At the bottom is the prompt box. You can type your prompt here. You can also attach files or paste images. Below the prompt box starting from the right, we have the reasoning effort. I will leave it at medium. It is a good balance. Next is model selection. I will use the Codex Max, which is the latest version, and the one that can handle long context really well. Next is the mode selection. We have the chat mode, and this is the safest. It will always ask for approval before touching files or running certain kinds of commands. I usually start with this. Now, the agent mode skips approval for less risky actions inside the workspace. It is helpful if you do not want to be bothered with too many approvals. Now, the last one, which is the agent full access mode, this can do anything. It can edit files, delete files, and even browse online without your approval. Use this carefully, especially when your prompt may cause the agent to attempt risky operations. Next, we choose between local and cloud mode. I will work locally, so we will leave it at the default. Great. Now, let's head over to the prompts. I have already prepared a prompt for the first phase. The first part tells the AI that this is a competition between itself and different coding agents. I wanted to see if this makes the model more competitive. I have not fully tested the effectiveness of this, but it does not really hurt to try new ideas with prompting. The next part describes the game. I did not give too many details because I wanted to test the model's knowledge and understanding of Pac-Man. However, I included some few basic requirements for a neon or cyberpunk visual style, which I love for games. A 20 by 20 grid maze, 4 ghosts chasing Pac-Man, pellets and power pellets, and score and lives tracking. Of course, these are very basic descriptions of the Pac-Man game. I also asked for a smooth tile-based movement. This is the right movement style for grid maze games. I also asked for input buffering. This allows the player to plan ahead of time for turning Pac-Man. Pac-Man will remember the last key entered by the user and turn when it gets to an open tile in that direction. I also included that it should use the usual WASD and arrow keys for movement. Finally, I asked for a HUD to show the scores, lives, and game states. And the game should fit inside a 1366 by 768 viewport. No special reason for this. An old version I made used this size, and it looks so good, I decided to keep it in the prompt. So now I will copy the prompt and paste it into the prompt box. So let me submit it. Let me widen the sidebar a little. This will give us more space to see what Codex is doing. Alright, so it has started working and logging its activities. Now, because it is in chat mode, it says over here that noting read-only constraints. This means that Codex cannot change files without our approval, as I have already explained. So you can now see that it is listing directory files and checking for hidden files. This makes a lot of sense since it first needs to check if there are further instructions or requirements or an existing code it needs to understand. Alright, so now it says it is planning the initial project setup. And now it is ready to make its first file and is asking for approval to do this. It wants to run a PowerShell command to create the index.html file. I will go ahead and approve it. While it works, you can reveal the details under any action in the list. So let me go ahead and expand the planning initial project steps. You can see the details says the folder is empty. It also says write operations are blocked by read-only sandbox, which is expected because it is in chat mode. Alright, so you can see from here that it is designing the map and other game details. Alright, I'm going to fast forward from this point, not to waste time. Now, at this point, Codex wants approval to make more changes. This is after it had finished planning and designing most parts of the game. Alright, so let me go ahead and approve this one. Let me switch the mode from chat to agent. I feel confident with the direction the agent is taking. I don't need to approve every step anymore. But note that the change to agent mode will not apply yet. It will take place after I submit another prompt. So you will see this action get pushed down each time Codex updates the list. Okay, so I'm going to fast forward again. Alright, so Codex is now done. The entire process has taken about 13 minutes. Not bad at all. You can see it has provided a summary of its work and it wants me to go ahead and test the game. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and test the game. This looks cool. I like the neon visuals. Wait a minute, did Pac-Man just move through the walls? It looks like the ghosts are doing the same. Okay, it seems like the collision with the wall is not working. Let me try to see if I can move him with the keyboard controls. No, it is not responding to the movement keys. Yet you can see that the collision logic is not working. Pac-Man is not even eating the pellets. It goes through the walls and the same applies to the ghost. And there is a small delay before he moves when the game starts. So for our first shot, it did not get everything right. But it would be a mistake to judge the model too quickly. In some earlier retries, it did much better on the first attempt. These agents' models have internal randomness, so some runs are great, some runs fall apart. That is normal for AI coding agents. So the main issue right now is collisions and input handling. These are issues I'm sure it will have no trouble fixing. But hey, I have been so fixed on the issues, let me look at the things it did right. I'm not kidding you, I think the neon cyberpunk style looks really cool. Also, the maze layout may not be the same classic Pac-Man maze, but this looks great. I like the hard display at the top. It shows the score, lives, and game states, just like we asked it to do. It also added keyboard instructions at the bottom, and it even added a restart key. I did not ask for that, so that was a good one. It created all the pellets and power pellets, and it drew Pac-Man with an opening and closing mouth animation. Nice and impressive. Remember, we did not provide any image for it to use, so this means it used drawing functions to do this. It also drew the ghost, which I think is even more impressive. They are missing one eye, but I think it still looks cool. It makes them look like pirate ghosts. Alright, so it also kept everything within 100% browser zoom, which some earlier attempts I did had a problem with. So I have gone ahead and typed a new prompt describing the issues I was seeing. The biggest one was the issues with collision. I also mentioned the small pause at the start before Pac-Man begins moving. So I will submit, and then I will fast forward until it is complete. So it took about 10 minutes, and during those 10 minutes, it asked for 3 file edit approvals. Alright, so let's see the results. Nice! Now Pac-Man is colliding with the walls, and I can control him with the keyboard. That's a huge improvement. But we still have a problem. Pac-Man is not eating pellets or power pellets yet. I think it only ate 1 or 2, but not the rest. Also, the turning kind of feels a bit weird. I am trying to go through the gap below, but it is either not working or hard to do so. But it does turn when we get to the end of a corridor. So this could mean that input buffering is not working the way I requested. Also, why are there 3 ghosts? The first time it had 4, and now there are only 3. Well, it may be possible a ghost may be overlapping another. And one of the ghosts is shaking in place like it wants to move but can't. And the others, why are they just still? It's like Pac-Man is not their problem today. Alright, so I have gone ahead and written another prompt to fix these issues. So let me submit it. Alright, I will fast forward again until it is completed. Alright, so it has finished, and I have been testing, and it looks like we are now getting somewhere. Now Pac-Man is eating the normal and power pellets, so the game is finally taking shape and I am loving it. But I still see those 2 ghosts are not moving. I don't know if my man Pac-Man found a way of taming them. At least for now, the important parts work. Pac-Man now collides properly with the wall and the ghost. And when he collides with the ghost, he dies. And frighten mode is also working when I eat a power pellet. Now, I don't know if my eyes are deceiving me. At some point, I think I saw Pac-Man colliding with the ghost and nothing happened. But I have noticed that this happens when the ghost is eating. In the original game, when the ghost is eating, they return to their pen moving very fast. In that state, you cannot collide with them. So this is not a collision problem. However, in the classic game, the ghosts turn into eyes only when they are in this state and returning to their pen. Now this avoids any confusion about the state of the ghost. Ours isn't doing that. The ghosts look like they are in the attack mode when they are eating and trying to return to the pen. That's why I got confused. Alright, so I have just submitted another prompt to fix these issues. So let me fast forward again. Alright, so let me pause here a little bit. It has not finished. So far, it has been working for 16 minutes and has performed 2 file edits. Now, since we started, there's been a lot of back and forth already, and I was worrying about the context. But check this out. Below, we have the context meter, which shows the percentage used. And we have only used 15%. Honestly, I am surprised. I expected the context usage to be much higher by now. So this shows how really good Codex Max is at compacting the context. Alright, so on our 4th attempt, things are looking much better now. All the ghosts are moving out of their pen. All the pellets are eaten by Pac-Man as he passes over them. However, I see that not all the ghosts are frightened when Pac-Man eats the power pellet. So I have submitted a prompt to correct this issue, and I'm going to fast forward to the point where all the issues are resolved. Alright, so at this point, I can confidently say we are done with phase 1. I had to submit 3 more prompts for corrections and improvements. This took about 9 minutes in total, and now the game looks solid. Collisions are working. When Pac-Man eats a ghost, it immediately starts from its pen. I think I asked for this in one of my prompts. It should have navigated back to the pen as eyes, but no worries, we can work with this. I also asked for a few other improvements. I asked for the ghosts to flash when they are about to exit frightened mode. This is how it works in the classic game. And at some point, I realized some pellets were also unreachable, as you can see in this image. So the maze needed a small fix. And I also asked for a configuration to make Pac-Man invisible. This will allow me to test if the game ends with the player winning after all pellets have been eaten. I've been trying to finish the game by eating all the pellets, and I have not been successful. So I badly needed this configuration. Now the configuration was added in code, and it showed me where I can make the change. So from the code, I'm just going to set that configuration to true. Alright, so I'm now playing Invisible Pac-Man and almost about to finish the level. Alright, the game ends with a win for the player, and so the test passed. Let's move to phase 2. Alright, so in phase 2, I want 3 new features. I want a second hard-coded maze, and I want a random maze generator that creates a valid maze. So there should be no trapped pellets that Pac-Man cannot reach. Every pellet must be reachable. Thirdly, I want a random maze to be saved if the player likes it. So you can generate a maze, play it, and keep it. And finally, I want the user to be able to pause, resume, stop, start, and restart the game. I also added an extra instruction to tell Codex to stop after planning and ask me for approval. I believe this will give me a chance to review the plan first and approve through a prompt. So let me copy the prompt and paste it in the prompt box. I have already reset the mode back to chat. This is not needed, but I just want to test switching to agent full access mode when it pauses for the plan approval. Alright, let me submit, and let's just give it a moment. Oh wow, it already finished planning fast, and it is asking approve this plan to proceed. So the prompt actually worked. Note that this is not the usual approval for editing files or running commands. This only happened because I asked for it in the prompt. Without that, it would have started implementing right away. So before I let it continue, let me switch to agent full access mode. And now let me tell it to proceed. Alright, it is working, so let me fast forward. Great, it is done. It took only about 5 minutes. Now let's test the game. Alright, I can see a maze selector at the top. It looks disabled, but I think it's because the game is currently running. So let me click on the end game button to stop the game. Now let me open the drop down and select Neon Loop, which is the new maze. The name is actually pretty cool. So yes, this is a new maze and it looks great. I don't know about you, but I think I like it. Let me play to test it out. Alright, enough playing around. Nice work, Codex, for designing this beautiful maze. Now let's check the harder part, the random maze generator. So let me click on the maze drop down again, and I see random, and I also see random saved. But I don't understand why we have a random saved. I'm not sure what it is for. Also, the text is not easy to make out until you highlight it. It is a gray color on a white background. That needs to be fixed. Anyways, let me just click on random. And this is my random maze. Wait, this looks like the first classic maze. Let me stop and try again by clicking on this random button. No, this is not working. Alright, I have gone ahead and done a few more tests and I can conclude that the random generator is clearly not working. It just loads the classic maze, which is kind of disappointing because like I said, I have earlier tried this project with Codex Max before and it got it right the first time. But no problem, I know this is something it can fix. Unfortunately, the restart button is not working, but the pause and resume buttons work beautifully. So let me go ahead and fix the issues I have identified. So I have typed and submitted the prompts. Now, when it comes to prompting the AI to solve problems, I spend quite a lot of time on it. I describe the issues carefully. If you describe them wrongly, the fix may either fail or it may even break an existing feature that was working. Alright, so now let me fast forward again. Okay, so after about 3 minutes, it is done. I already read through the summary, so let me test again. Alright, so I have tested again, and sadly, the only thing that was fixed was the end button now correctly showing start after the game ends. The restart button also works, but the random maze generation is still not working. It keeps defaulting back to the classic maze. Now, I don't want to bore you with endless retries, so I'm going to handle this behind the scene and come back when it is fixed. Alright, after about an hour of back and forth testing, the random generator finally works. And saving a maze works too. Now, I'm not totally happy with the random maze designs, but honestly, I am tired, so I will take it as a pass. The main reason the agent was struggling to fix this issue was because it was having errors that I did not see. I only noticed it after opening the DevTools in my browser and going to console. Once I gave it the error, Codex immediately understood the real problem and fixed it. Honestly, I should have done this much earlier, but I forgot to do that and wasted time with all this back and forth. So if your application is working in the browser, always remember to check the browser console. And if you give the AI agent the error message, it becomes much easier for it to understand the problem and fix it. Now also check this out. We've done a lot in this single session. Many prompts, many edits, and lot of testing. And Codex has used only about 38% of the context window. This is super impressive. Most models will have run out of context by now. Alright, so phase 2 is done. Now let's move to the next phase. Alright, so now phase 3 is quite simple. I just want 3 difficulty levels implemented. I want an easy, medium, and hard level. And this should affect the chase accuracy of the ghost. So let me submit the prompt and fast forward again. Alright, so after about 3 minutes, it is done. Now let's test again. So the different levels are available from this drop down. Nice. Let me change it to hard. Alright, I have tested easy, medium, and hard. But honestly, I can't feel a big difference between them. But for the sake of time, I will give this one a pass for now. Later, I will do a more careful test. And if needed, I can ask Codex to make the difference more obvious. Now, let's move straight to phase 4. Now, phase 4 is all about sound. And this is what I want. We are not going to add any sound fast. The code should be able to generate sound effects using the Web Audio API, which can synthesize simple sounds. Now, I want sounds for Pac-Man eating a pellet, eating a power pellet, eating a ghost, Pac-Man dying, and completing the level. I want an option to turn the audio on and off. And one more important thing, the audio must be non-blocking. This means it should not lag and slow down gameplay. Alright, so I have typed and submitted the prompt for this. Let me fast forward again. Alright, it is finished. It took about 3 minutes. So let's see if it worked. Great, the sound is working. But I don't really like the sound for Pac-Man eating the pellet. It is not horrible, just not comfortable when the volume is high. The sound for eating the power pellet is okay. But the best one is when Pac-Man eats the ghost. That one is actually nice. So I will give this a pass. Later, I can ask it to improve the pellet sound and make it more pleasant. Alright, now we move to phase 5. This phase is about visual polishing. Honestly, the game already looks good, but we can still make it feel more alive. So here is what I'm going to ask for. I want floating score effects. That means whenever you earn points, like when you eat a pellet, a power pellet, or a ghost, the score should briefly float up on the screen like a small particle effect. Next, I want the power pellet to pause, so they stand out and feel more special. I also want a proper wind screen and depth screen so the game feels complete. And one more important rule, these effects should not distract the player. They should not reduce performance. Alright, so I have pasted the prompt for this. Let me go ahead and submit it. And now I'm going to fast forward. Alright, so it took 2 minutes to complete. Now let's test it out. Nice, this is working. You can see the score floating up when I earned points. And it is not distracting at all. It is subtle but has a lot of value. The power pellet is also pulsating. That's a nice touch. I had wished that when it eats a ghost or power pellet, the floated score will be much larger so that it feels more rewarding. But those things can be handled later. Right now, I am genuinely enjoying the game. So at this point, we have a complete playable Pac-Man game. But I'm not done yet. I want to add reinforcement learning training so an AI agent can learn to play the game. That will be the focus of my next video. So if you have enjoyed it, subscribe to my channel and like the video to support my work.